Hello LEGO fans, Jarv Bricks here with a city update. Now this time of year I usually do a complete walkthrough of my city, but this year I'm just going to review some of my creations that I did during the year instead of having a complete walkthrough, so it'll be a lot shorter than it was last year. I think it was about an hour last year, so I had to split it up into 3 videos, so hopefully this will be much shorter, and I'm only going to be showing you the new stuff that I've had during the course of the year. So the first thing I did was the roads. People have a bit of a Marmite love-hate situation with these roads. I particularly love them, purely because my city is quite small, and going from 32 by 32 base plate roads to these smaller 16 ones, and I have 4 studs for a pavement as well, it just gives me more room around my city to make buildings. So that was my first investment in the city. I wanted to use these roller coaster pieces to make an elevated train, so this was installed into my city. I'll just move over to this side, and this is quite a recent build where I made the birch books built into the train station with the shop on the first floor, and the stairs that go up to the top. You can go left into the shop or right onto the train station. Moving back to this side of the city, I upgraded stud labs. I wanted to make it more of a modern build. It was, if you remember, the red profile brick building. It wasn't quite as tall. I wanted it taller, but didn't have enough colour in that brick, and I wanted to have these various colours as well, just to make it more of a modern build. Like always with the skyscrapers, I put details on the back and I keep them open so you can see them. So we have our owner of Stud Labs at the top, and then we go down bit by bit into various labs and scientific doohickery, making a robot here, and down to the main ground floor. Opposite Stud Labs we have our pub. It's a bit of a squeeze here, which is also our entrance to our subway. Now at the moment I'm just going to show you the things on the surface and not go into the subway. Which brings us over to our museum. This is probably one of my favourite builds. It's either that or the subway itself. Really enjoyed making this, all the details all around it. If you've watched a few of my updates recently, you'll notice that I've installed lights into it as well. But let's take a look on the inside. Fully detailed, including a few wires for the lights. Tried to make it a little bit smaller just so you could see down through the top. Here we have our Asian section, mostly Ninjago bits, Abraham Lincoln in the middle, and then our Egyptian section over here on the right. Yes, thoroughly enjoyed making this museum. I put a canal into the city here, and I just wanted to have a bright, colourful area off the canal with a cafe and bakers here. Next door to Moe's Ice Cream. Very small, tight space, but I think it worked well. And I wasn't sure if I built this year or the previous year, I can't remember. but here is the sports shop on the right and the flower shop on the left. Next we're going to look at the GCPD. Now I bought the 2 sets of last year's modular police station in order to build this. I wanted it to have a little bit of a modern look. Really pleased with the way it all turned out here. But let's take a little bit of a gander on the inside. So our reception area, just a small toilet and lift area, which takes us up to our next floor where we have our evidence locker with the money and weapons used for crime, and also a little bit of a storage area for crowbars and walkie-talkies and stuff like that. Our interrogation floor, complete with a mirrored window, if you can just about see that there. And also we have one of the League of Shadows assassins climbing up the side of the building. Then this is where the investigations go, complete with a wall there. We like that floor. I think it looks pretty cool. And then on our roof we have Batman, Robin, Commissioner Gordon, the Signal, and a little communications tower as well. Really pleased with how that turned out. Next we go on to our tunnel, and I put this whole shelf in and all these buildings as a facade, so just make it look more busy as a city. And having all of the buildings overlapping, from here you can't really tell as much, but from a distance it looks like some buildings are behind others, such as that based that on Parliament there. Just try to have it a little bit behind. Don't know if it works, but there you go. And then on the roof there we've got some micro builds just to try and make it look like there's skyscrapers in the background there. I put this little entrance stairway to get up to the higher level. And I just love the view where it just looks busy and multi-layered city in such a tight space as I have over here. So if we go over to Chinatown, I put this city building here, try to fill it up with signs and things like that. We've got a noodle shop and an ice cream shop, and also some details on the inside with a little bit of a kung fu stand on the roof as well, some sensei doing some training, or should I say shifu if it's at Chinatown. Here I made these gardens utilising the Ninjago City Gardens and some elements of that, and also from the Chinese New Year sets as well. I'll just go from this side and you can see it in some greater detail. Here I was just working with I think it was 3 or 4 16 by 32 base plates, so it's all quite thin and narrow. But I love the look that the plants and the greenery has all added to this area here. I also moved my cinema and donut shop to this area as well. And this is just the shops from the other angle, but there's nothing new there. So just moving over to this section, my most recent section. This is MI6 headquarters, and I wanted to make this look a little bit like a Whitehall area of London. There's actually a ton of details in that, but it's a little bit hard to see because it's all white. Then I did my Iceberg Lounge, which is Penguin's hideout. I'll try and show you the back of it now. I'm just going freehand here, so I apologise if it gets a little bit wobbly. So here's a bit of a bar, and this is the James Bond area here. Past this little facade we see Penguin and his shark in his Iceberg Lounge hanging out with all the bad guys. Next we go to Wayne Manor. So I wanted to use these slopes that I got with all of the roads that I'd bought and the trees as well, so I was able to make a nice driveway and garden using those bits that were extra. I then went onto the building and I wanted to have a gothic feel, so I used the snot technique so that I could pack it out and give it that three-dimensional feel. I'm really pleased with how that turned out using the windows from the brick bank. Now under every Wayne Manor, of course, you have a Batcave, and it's no different here. I got lots of the stickers for the computer from previous Batman sets to make the big computer. It's got the various uniforms and bat gear, and then a little mechanic area. It is a bit messy as I have torn it down a little bit because I want to expand the Batcave. This moves on a hinge so you can get to those higher levels, and then when I expand it, this is going to be pushed back, and I'm going to get 2 more 32 by 32 base plates, and then it's going to have it coming around this corner here, as I've got another 2 Batmobiles, and I want to get the new Batmobile that comes out on January the 1st. So here is one of our subway stations. I haven't built this up to make it all nice, as this is the set that is on Lego Ideas. So if you like the look of this, support it on Lego Ideas, and hopefully one day it will become a set in the Lego shops. It's a little bit smaller than I would have done it normally, but I didn't want to make it gigantic as my other one there on the left. And as you can see, I've got a lot of underground areas that I've done this year. So moving along from the subway station, we have Ra's al Ghul. Now I used Doctor Strange because there's only one Ra's al Ghul minifigure and it costs a fortune, so I just used Doctor Strange and changed his hair colour. As you can see, his Lazarus pit is behind him there. Then using Ninjago ninjas, I just put lots of League of Shadows assassins all being trained to go on various missions for Raz. Here's the hidden entrance, which Emmett is a bit scared of, and Batman is spying on them, with the secret entrance there behind that movable wall. Going around the corner here, I put a Mr. Freeze hideout. So he's got a frozen police station, lots of warm henchmen, and there's his wife Nora in suspended animation while he works on a cure for her disease. Moving over to our first layout in the underground is our subway station. A much larger version of the one you saw before. This was the first one I made. Obviously I couldn't make it this big, is the Lego Ideas, but really pleased with how that worked out. And then I've just put a little bit of a sewer scene there with Bane. The train is functional and is part of the Lego Ideas set as well that I've submitted there. And just remember, any of the buildings that I've shown you today, they have an individual video on my YouTube channel, so if you want to see anything in more detail, just check out some of my previous videos and mocks and you can see them there. So then moving around this corner, we have Joker's hideout. I wanted the scene from Batman 1989 where he's sitting watching the TV and he has a little device to punch it, if you recall. I did have a boxer's glove on the floor there, but it seems to have disappeared, and Harley Quinn and a couple of henchmen there as well. Just a normal basic sewer scene here with a generic worker dropping his walkie-talkie in the water. And then our biggest scene, I think, is Lex Luthor's hideout, which is full of details. If you've seen Superman from 1978, 79, you'll recall he had an underground abandoned train station as his hideout, and he'd flooded one section for a swimming pool, and that's what this is supposed to replicate, with his henchmen going around, and they're tapping into the power grid there to power all of his machinery for inventing stuff to defeat Superman. And I've just made everything a little bit wonky as well, and as if it's a bit ruined and battered. Now we need to go back above ground. I haven't done much here. I changed a few of the market stalls slightly, but building wise all of these remain the same up until here, where we've got Hooper's grocery store from the Sesame Street set, and Soap and Suds as well, and then there's just an apartment above there as well. Now these buildings I've kept all open backed, so, and big windows as well, so the light can go through. Here we have the Octan Cup Factory, where our worker there is in the reception, and then our factory is up above. I'll just try and get the camera above to look in. It's quite tight as I'm in the loft and the roof gets in the way. There's a lot of cup making going on in there. You might be able to see better through the window. And I just tried to put stuff on the outside to make it look like a factory. Over to our Ace Chemicals. Similar vein to the Cup Factory, open back, big windows so you can see inside. And if you've seen the 1989 Batman, you'll know the Joker, Jack Napier, fell in a vat of acid to become the Joker. But in the comics, it was the Red Hood, and he became the Joker. So I've used the Red Hood minifigure there as he's fighting Batman. The railings have broken and he's about to fall into that vat of acid and become the Joker. So again, wanted to make it look like a factory, lots of equipment on the outside to make it look that way. Then with the docks, wanted it a little bit smaller, detailed also, open backed so you can see it. And I want to make it smaller so you can see the Ace Chemicals behind it. And then I've got a very reduced docks. If you recall, my old docks was quite a lot bigger. It actually took up all of this space where the Cup Factory and Ace Chemicals are, but I wanted some buildings over here, so that's why I just downsized it there. And that is the end of the video. That's all of the major creations I made during 2021. I did do a few finer details, such as post boxes, walls, notice boards, just giving it a little bit of extra detail along the way. But as for the major creations, that is what I've been doing. Let me know which ones you liked best, which ones you thought were rubbish, so in the future I can build things that you guys like, so you can see them next time. So thank you for watching, and I will be back shortly with another city update. Goodbye.